Yo, Descendant, Augiesaint here, coming at you with another TFT build guide, and today we're going to have a look at an updated Freyna build guide. And yes, we did actually manage to get her powerful enough to use in the Axion planes. I could recommend her as one of my top 5 Descendants to go ahead and farm the Axion planes. And we did that with the use of Venom Injection, because Venom Injection gives us a ton more damage than what Contagion would. We do lose out on a little bit of the spread, but we make up for that with a little bit of extra range as well as a ton of extra cooldown, letting us go ahead spamming our 1 and our 2 to just spread her AoE everywhere. And because it's so much stronger, it just makes the Axion planes really easy and chill. She's even pretty decent at taking out the elites. If you time it right, I can get my ultimate, so my baptism, down to a 11-second cooldown with the use of some of the inversion tactics. Even if you don't time it right and you just kind of throw it out whenever, it'll be on a 22-second cooldown, so that's really not a bad cooldown. Plus it does a ton of damage still. Doesn't wipe out elites like instantly, but it does a decent amount of damage. Plus all you can do is just carry a last dagger with you if you really want to take out the elites that much faster. But as you can see in the background, she is no slouch and she does a ton of damage out in the plains. Surprisingly, all we did was buff her up a little bit and change her mods around and just focus on Venom Injection instead of Contagion. So without further ado, let's hop straight into the build video. So if you have a look at her mods, obviously this whole build is based around the use of Venom Injection. And what this does is it actually starts using your HP. But because of the way we have it built up, we only have 1 HP and we use shield in this build. Venom Injection does give you shield regen, so your shield, you pretty much just have a better life pool, if that makes sense, because we have only about 8,700 shield. But because of Venom Injection, it pulls your MP and it regenerates your shield while it's active. It also gives you increased skill power modifier and all the extra dots and all of the other abilities. That's why it's just such a good mod. You can't make it work without this. Then how we end up getting a decent amount of shield is by using Overwhelming Shield. It puts your max HP at 1, so it kind of counteracts the Venom Injection. So instead it's going to start taking away from your mana. That's why we do use MP Collector, because without MP Collector this build doesn't feel very good, because you have to really run very fast after the little blue orbs. And if you guys have played the game long enough, you know the more mobs there are, the faster they die, the quicker the little MP orbs disappear. So having MP Collector is just so much more smooth to go ahead and play the build. Then we have another shield mod over there, just increasing our overall shield. By taking this off, we lose a ton of shield. That's why I decided to put this on. We have tested by putting an HP mod there instead. You still get more from the shield mod over here. And the HP that we're getting for the Overwhelming Shield is actually on our components. As you can see, we don't have any HP mods. The only defensive mods we're running is Overwhelming Shield and Increased Shield. And in saying that, if you are comfortable going down to about 3.84k shield, then you could go ahead and drop Increased Shield to put Toxic Amplification over there. It would give you more damage, but you would be quite squishy, so you'd have to watch out with your shield regenerating all the time from Venom Injection. So you would be able to stay alive. Just need to make sure you don't take any of the hits from the elites, because you would probably get down. That's why for comfiness, we just prefer to go with 1 increased shield and then the Overwhelming Shield, putting us at like 8.7, almost 9k shield. I still need to max out some HP stuff on my components, and then we'll probably get to around 9k shield. I think that's a pretty decent life pool, especially since we are pretty much murdering anything before it even gets to us. Then having a look back at the mods, we are using Focus on Tech, Focus on Toxic for the cooldown. Like I said before, to counteract the AoE, we need to have a really short cooldown on our first ability. As you can see there, it goes down to 2.2 seconds. So we can literally spam this, and then our 3 is on a 5.1 second cooldown. But because of our Inversion tree, we do get quite a bit of cooldown as well. We'll pretty much just be spanning 1 and 3 back and forth the whole time, so we can cover the whole field in a ton of poison. That's how we offset the lack of range from having Venom Injection. And then carrying on with the mods, for more cooldown, we have MP Conversion and Nimble Finger, so we have as much cooldown as we can using the modules. We also try and get as much range as we can with max range as well as skilled expansion, because her 1 does have max expandable range of 300, so does her 3, so you can get a ton of range. It's going to increase all your range there. We do have some more range on the Arche Tree as well. And then lastly, we pick up Tech Amplification, because all of our damage is going to be from tech skills. You can see our 1, our 3 and our 4 are all tech skills, is why we ended up going with Tech Amp. So there's a quick overview of the mods if you guys want to screenshot it and dip. And then over to everybody's favorite mod in the game right now, the Power Beyond Trigger module. This just gives you a ton of extra damage. You want to try and get as high skill power as you can. You see we're still missing 1% over there, but we're close enough for now. So now let's have a look at the reactor we choose to use. We are using a Tech Toxic Reactor with Tech Skill Power Boost as well as Skill Duration Up. Now having a little bit of duration up wherever you can is really nice, because we weren't able to pick up any duration in the modules. So making up for some duration, because all of our dots don't last a very long time. So any amount of duration you can get somewhere might add another 2 or 3 ticks to your dots. So it's really nice to pick up duration. And then for the mountings on there, you want to make sure you have a tactical rifle, aka the Secret Garden. This is going to give you a ton of extra skill power when you do use tech skills, which is all of her damaging skills. So you pretty much have this buff up at all times. And we also did go ahead and mount the handgun so we could use the last dagger. This is only really optional if you want to like really just blow away elites quickly. I would suggest doing it because it saves you a lot of time, especially with Firing Fiesta. This is the build running is you Firing Fiesta, and we just have Fire Enhancement and just a normal standard crit and weak point build on the dagger. This is pretty much our all use everybody dagger. So having that Firing Fiesta and then just unloading that one clip is really nice to go ahead and wipe out elites, because it gives you some time to get the cooldown back on your Venom Baptism and let your dots and everything go ahead and tick. So it's nice to have that in your back pocket just for increased damage on elites. And then if we have a look at the external components, we are using the Plague Auxiliary set. This is a really good set because it does have HP on every single piece. So that ties well into our mods where we turn our HP into shield, and then also has a ton of toxic skill power boost, as you can see down below. And the 2 set is also giving us a tech skill power boost. So we're getting tech over there, and we're getting a massive 43.2% toxical skill power. Now the rolls you want to get on this is to make sure you get HP and MP on the power. For the sensor, typical MP. And then for the memory, you want to get defense, MP recovery. And then for the processor, you want to make sure you pick up some shield and then toxic res or maybe item pickup range. It's up to you on that last roll. And now if we have a look at her arcade tuning tree, just your typical mobbing stuff. We're getting as much skill power, MP, and we're picking some range down below. Coming over to the skill power node, back up through all the skill power, MP up to cooldown, down the right up to the mutant cell through all the skill power nodes, and we choose to use toxic cohesion. Just give her that much more toxic skill power. There's a quick little overview of the Arche Tree. And then last, let's have a look at inversion reinforcements. You want to make sure you max out this tree first so you can unlock the passive, and then the attribute tree second to unlock this passive as well. And then we go ahead and pick up Arche Circulation Tactic. Now this is the thing that gives you a massive amount of cooldown. You can see that gives you 24% skill cooldown for 10 seconds, and it does have an internal cooldown of 25 seconds. So if you time that really well and you see this little icon pop up on your bar, that means you have the buff. Go ahead and use your Venom Baptize, which is your 4th ability. And if you timed it well, it will have a 11-second cooldown. So that's a really short cooldown. If you don't time it well, it's going to have about a 22-second cooldown. So it's not that bad either way, but if you are trying to min-max, then you really want to make sure that you pay attention to when this buff pops up. And then I like to pick up any one of these rounds just to really get to the passive enhanced focus rounds, which is going to make the bosses take more damage. You only really use this on elites when you switch over to your last dagger and you do a couple of shots on them. It's going to stack up the debuff and just make them take more damage. And then lastly, down below, we like to pick up Deploy Resonance Device, because on skill or firearm hit on an enemy grants you deploy resonance, and that gives you a skill duration of 4.9% for 10 seconds with a 20-second cooldowns. So every 10 seconds you'll be gaining almost 5% skill duration, and like I said before, her dots don't really have a long duration, so the more duration you can get, the better. But that's going to be it for the updated Freyna build. She's actually one of my favorite Descendants now. I like to play the lazy Descendants, so like Freyna and Volby, where you just throw your stuff on the ground and you kind of just chill. So I would say she is one of the most relaxing Descendants to go ahead and play in the Axion planes. Hope you guys enjoyed the build. If you did, please drop a like and sub to the channel. It helps me out so much. If you want to see me testing all these builds and stuff, we are usually live over at twitch.tv/Augiesaint. I'd love to see you guys there. Thank you so much for watching. I will catch you guys in the next one. Augiesaint out.
Run free and dive into the sky. Hear the